Sawubona mngani, welcome back to Zulu Lessons with me, Thando, the place for modern, conversational Zulu language lessons. Mngani, we've just learned how to ask the simplest question in isiZulu, which is simply taking a statement and turning it into a question. And then we can also just simply add na at the end, just to make it clear that this is a question, in case you are not getting the intonation correctly. Now, let's look at the easiest way to ask where in isiZulu. Where, as in where is this and where is that? Or where do you work, or where do you stay, or where do you study? Where do you go to school? That kind of thing. But the easiest way of asking that question. The easiest way to ask this question, where in isiZulu, is simply adding P at the end of your statement or your phrase. These are going to be really short questions. Let's show you how it's done. To say, you live in Durban, I would say, uhlala eThekwini. Uhlala eThekwini. Or you can say eDurban if that's the name you want to use. So look at that at the beginning of our sentence. We have the pronoun you, because I'm asking about you. And then we have the verb, which we are using to talk about to stay, which is hlala, which means to stay, which can also mean to remain, which can also mean to sit. But in this context, it is to stay, as in to live in a place. Uhlala. We take just that and that alone and add to it P-H-I. And that sound is P. So when we now ask this question, it is uhlalaphi. 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 Where do you live? Where do you stay? The answer to that question, think about it now. I'm asking you, where do you live? So now for you to say where you live, you've got to then change that pronoun from you to I. So that's simply ngi, of course. Now you will be saying ngihlala, and then the name of the place you live in. Ngihlala eThekwini. Ngihlala eThekwini. Ngihlala eThekwini. Or in spoken language, you won't hear that very last A of the verb hlala. You will just hear the next thing after the L, you will just hear eThekwini, like this. Ngihlala eThekwini. Ngihlala eThekwini. Ngihlala eThekwini. So it sounds like one long statement or phrase. However, it's two phrases of this statement, or it's two parts of this sentence. The part with the verb and your pronoun, and of course then the place that you stay in, or the object that we are talking about. So let's ask more questions like this. Where do they go to school? In isiZulu, that question won't have that verb go in it. It will really be like this in English. Where do they study? So we know the verb to study is funda, to learn, to read. All of it is funda. Now, we're talking about they. Who is this they or them that we are talking about? Let's use two different examples. Let's use abafana, boys, and let's also use izingane, children. First with abafana. The pronoun or subject concord for a class 1 plural noun is ba. So this question is going to start with ba, followed by the verb funda, and then lastly, the suffix p that shows us that we are asking the question where. Bafundaphi. Bafundaphi. That's the question. Bafundaphi. Let's say we were talking about izingane. The pronoun or subject concord for izingane, which is a class 5 plural noun, is z. Then we follow that with the verb, and lastly the suffix p. Now our question is zifundaphi. 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 Where do they go to school? Where do they learn? Where do they study? But what if you wanted to say the noun itself as well? What if you wanted to say, where do the boys study? And not simply, where do they study? Or where do the children study? Now we'll take this question, bafundaphi, and then at the end, add the noun. Bafundaphi abafana. Bafundaphi abafana. That's a question. You can start with the noun as well and say, abafana bafundaphi. Do you hear that? Started with the noun followed by the rest of the question. Abafana bafundaphi. Let's use the one with izingane. We start with the phrase zifundaphi and then izingane. Zifundaphi izingane. Zifundaphi izingane. And we can swap those two parts of the statement and say izingane zifundaphi. Izingane zifundaphi. Izingane zifundaphi. That is, where do the children go to school? Where do the children learn? Where do the children study? Another question. Where are you going to cook? Uzophekaphi. Uzophekaphi. Let's say you, friend. Where are you going to cook, friend? Or friend, where are you going to cook? Uzophekaphi mngani. Did you hear that? Uzophekaphi mngani. Did you hear that? I am asking you, friend, where you are going to cook. Uzophekaphi mngani. I don't have that first u of the prefix for umngani. I didn't say it. Why is that? Because I'm talking to you directly. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking directly to you. And so whenever you're talking directly to the person or to those people you're talking to, you drop that very first vowel of the prefix of the noun. So let's ask this again and start with the noun this time. Mngani, uzophekaphi. Do you hear that? Mngani, uzophekaphi. Friend, where are you going to cook? Or friend, where will you cook? Mngani, uzophekaphi. That's the simplest way of asking the question, where, in isiZulu. Let's just recap. We said you start your question with the pronoun, followed by the verb, and lastly, the suffix, which is phi, p. Now, here's a question to you, and I would like you to answer that by typing it in the comments. Uhlalaphi mngani? Mngani, uhlalaphi? Ngiyabonga mngani, usale kahle.